Good morning. What a beautiful day it is today. I hope you're all okay. Today's story is going to be a book by Sarah Naish, and it's called Ellie Jelly and the Massive Mum Meltdown. Mum meltdown? Never. Okay, I hope you can see. I might have to move around a little bit. Here we go, so you can see the pictures. I'm going to pop my glasses on. So my eyes are a little bit tired. Okay, I'm going to switch you around here. How's that? Okay. Ellie Jelly woke up feeling grumpy. She was cross because she had shouted and shouted at the top of her voice for Mum to come and see her. But Mum just ignored her. Mum had called out, "I'm busy with Grace." Grace was Ellie Jelly's baby sister. She was very small, but Mum was always busy with her. Being busy was so boring. Ellie got out of bed grumpily and stamped down the stairs. "I'm hungry. Where's my breakfast?" she asked rudely. Mum was carrying Grace and putting out the breakfast things. She made a sighing face and said, "That's a bit rude. Sit at the table nicely." Ellie sat at the table but made a nice loud squeaky scrapey noise with her chair first. She knew Mum hated that. Mum looked at Ellie with pointy eyebrows, but just then, luckily, Grace was sick. Blech! Mum sighed a bit more and muttered, "Oh, for goodness sake, I'll have to go and change all her clothes now." Oh dear. Oh, Ellie Jelly started swinging her legs and banging her cutlery hard on the table to make sure Mum remembered she was there. Mum looked at Ellie with her "stop it now" face, then went off with Grace to sort her out. She's going to clean up her sick. Ellie banged a bit harder, but still nobody came. Even when she did her loudest, shouty, singy noise. No one came. Ellie noticed that there was no milk on her cereal, so she thought she'd better help herself as Mum was still busy with Grace. Ellie got off her chair and opened the fridge door. It was quite stiff. When she picked up the milk, it was very heavy and cold. Ellie carried it carefully to the table and tipped it into her cereal. Suddenly, the milk splashed out of the bowl and all over the table and floor. Ellie Jelly felt all hot and panicky. Her hands went wet and slidey. The milk slid straight through them. It went everywhere. Oh no! Oh, crikey. Ellie looked at the mess and felt terribly worried. She thought she had better try and clear it up before Mum came back. She picked up the tea towel and started patting it on the table. When it was quite wet, she'd realised that it wasn't a tea towel. Oh no! It was Mum's best top waiting to be ironed. Just then, Mum came back in with Grace. "What on earth is going on here?" she shouted. Ellie felt a bit worried, looking at all the dreadful mess. Suddenly, Grace was sick again. Mum's face went all blotchy and red. She quickly put Grace in her playpen and then turned back to look at Ellie. "That's it!" she shouted in a really weird, screechy voice. "I've had enough!" Oh my goodness. Ellie thought she'd better stand very still and be very quiet. Grace started crying. The sick was sliming off her and into the playpen. Mum started moving very fast, banging and crashing things. She picked everything up off the table, threw it in the sink. Ellie heard a breaking noise as a bowl smashed. Grace cried a bit louder. Oh my goodness, everything's happening. Oh dear. Mum picked up her wet, milky top and shouted, "You are a very naughty girl. What were you thinking? I don't know why I ever bother trying to do nice things. You both ruin everything." She shouted so loud that Ellie's ears started shaking. It felt like her brain was shaking too. Ellie could feel her chest banging and had a horrible whooshy feeling. Her heart's beating so fast. Oh dear, and her head and her chest is banging. Oh, that can't feel very nice. All at once, Mum sat down on the floor, put her head in her hands and said, "I'm so tired." Ellie felt quite wobbly about Mum sitting on the floor. She didn't like it. Ellie started crying. Grace cried even more. Oh no, everybody's sad. Whatever are they going to do? Ellie ran into her room and hid under the bed. She thought about Mum saying she'd ruined everything, and that made her cry even harder. After a few minutes, she could hear Mum talking on the phone. Then there were some quieter tidying up noises. Ellie thought she'd better stay under the bed as she didn't want to ruin anything else, and she was worried that Mum might do some more shouty screeching. Ooh, that's not a nice noise. Suddenly, Ellie heard the doorbell ring and Granny speaking. There was quiet talking and crying noises. Then she heard Granny say, "Never mind, we all have bad days. I will sort out Grace. You go and see to Ellie." Ellie saw Mum's feet come into the bedroom. Then her head appeared, looking under the bed. Ellie looked carefully at Mum. She still looked red and blotchy, but she didn't look angry anymore. "Fancy a cuddle?" asked Mum. Ellie sniffed. Mum said, "Ellie, I am really sorry that I got so cross. I can see now that you were only trying to help." Oh, Mum said sorry. That's nice. Ellie thought a cuddle might be quite nice, so she slowly shuffled out from under the bed and sat on Mum's lap. Mum put her arms around Ellie and said, "I'm sorry if I scared you." Ellie sniffed a bit harder, wiped the tears off with her hand and said, "I didn't mean to ruin everything." Saying it made Ellie start crying again. Mum said, "You don't ruin anything. You are my little girls and I love you both more than the whole world." Sometimes even mums get cross and lose their temper though. Do you remember when you shouted at Grace and said you hated her? Ellie did remember that, but she didn't really want to think about it, so she just shrugged her shoulders. Well, continued Mum, I know you didn't really mean it. When we get really tired and angry, our words come rushing out before our brains have time to check them. That's when unkind words happen. Well, that's what happened to me today, and I am so sorry. Of course, I didn't mean what I said. You are not a naughty girl. You are a lovely, lovely girl and have such a kind heart. My mouth was saying silly, tired words. Mum and Ellie stayed cuddled up for quite a long time, listening to each other's hearts beating. Oh, that's nice. Granny called out, "There's a nice breakfast in here. You might want to come and get some before Grace eats the lot." Ellie smiled at Mum. Mum smiled back. "Are we friends again?" asked Mum. Ellie smiled. "Yes," she said. "Friends." Oh, that's nice. Later that day, when Ellie saw the broken bowl in the bin, she felt a bit sad. But when she remembered Mum saying that she loved her more than the whole world, and the whole world is very big, thought Ellie, with a big little smile. There she is. That was a good story. I hope you liked that. That was Ellie Jelly and the Massive Mum Meltdown. See you again.